What's going on, everybody? It is Jackson and Steven from Dinger Dudes, and today we have a brand new episode of Dinger Dudes. Obviously, the MLB season is winding down, but we're also joined by two guests, Andrew and Chase Jefferson. I'm playing Michael Miller and Ayden Abee from Wolf Sports Network. How are y'all doing today? Whoever
I've
wants
been
to
good.
answer.
Just got off of work, feeling wonderful. Got done watching some NFL football, having a great day.
Michael.
Dude, I'm doing terrible, dude. I hate being a Falcons fan with a passion. I was doing great. I was so excited to watch the game today, and then just pure devastation.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing we're talking about baseball today, isn't it?
Dude, I wish we were still in playoff contention, dude, because we're playing. The Braves are playing well right now, and it
Hmm.
doesn't matter. So.
Yes, let's play well when we have a chance to get the first pick in the draft. Let's do that. Good job, boys. Jackasses.
All right. Well, Steven, since you're super, super hyped up and you haven't been on a Dinger Dudes episode in a minute, I want to start with you. What is your overall look as being a Braves fan, and what's your overall takeaway from this MLB season?
Uh, Overall take as far as a Braves fan goes, it's pretty freaking piss poor. I can tell you that much. This year has just been a bunch of uh like question marks of what could have been for this team because you look at this offense and this offense just for like a third of the season or like a two-thirds of the season has just been nothing whatsoever. You've seen some like high spots for the future. Drake Baldwin, in my opinion, is the rookie of the year. He has been an incredible, like one of the only like bright spots about this year just in general. um Getting a Hong Song Kim for basically just nothing but scraps, and we just picked him up off the scrap heap, and what he's been doing for the team has been a bright spot. The fact that we have Hurston Waldrop coming in at the last part of the season and looking like he could be a bright spot for this rotation in the future. Spencer Strider had a good start today. That's a good thing. Maybe he can get back to his old ways and get to a point, but let's just go ahead and say what it is. The season sucked. It was terrible. The offense was terrible. The pitching has been brutal. It was something that this team should have been an 85 90 win team at the least. At the least amount, that's what this team should have been, and they weren't. They were terrible. They lost to teams they shouldn't have lost to. They went on just a terrible streaks to where they would sit there. You'd think they find the offense, and then the offense would just be gone in the next game. God, like I thought we were done with Bryce Elder. I said at the beginning of the year, I think Bryce Elder should be done. I should never have to see that man on in a Braves uniform or on our mound ever again. And now here he comes up, and I'm hearing all these people, "Hey, Bryce Elder's looking good. Oh, he had a couple of back-to-back starts." I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it. This man can sit there and have three back-to-back good starts, and then the next start he's going to give up 10 in the first inning. I'm not falling for the Bryce Elder hype anymore. That man needs to go. You can find five better starting pitchers. I don't care where you get them from. You can find five better starting pitchers than Bryce Elder. That
Eric
is not an
Fetty.
answer for this team. Anybody, please.
Eric
But
Fetty.
okay, to just give a generalized, I have my whole spiel and I'm about to be done.
Hmm.
You have one player that might get to 30 home runs. Matt Olson's had a great month. I'm happy for him. But it's just been a bunch of we know exactly what this team should have been, and they aren't. They're going to finish below 500, probably around 9 games below 500 at the end of the year. And that's not what this team should have been. It's very awful, and it really sucks. It really sucks. And we're going to have to figure out a lot of things in the offseason in order for us to, come back next year and uh, get to back to where this team should be.
We've heard Steven's take, and I know Aiden Abee. I actually want to talk with you because I've never had the opportunity to talk with you really about baseball. And I don't, are you a Braves fan?
I am a Braves fan, yes, unfortunately for now.
Okay, for now. All right. So, what are your thoughts on the Braves season?
This season's been pretty much a wash. As a Braves fan, it's just been a year of disappointment from what you usually see from the Braves. This is you come into the year every single year as a Braves fan with high hopes right now, and this year it's just been the worst thing that you could ever hope for. Injuries galore, bad play galore. Like Steven said, there's been Ha-Sung Kim in the last couple of weeks, and that's really been the only bright spots the whole time.
Michael?
Yeah, I think for me, this is the worst Braves season of my life because of the expectation before the year. There have been some worse teams. Obviously, those rebuild teams were pretty atrocious in 2015, 2016. But just the fact that you came in with an expectation to be a World Series contender and you played this bad the entire year. We had that stretch in the middle of these are June or July where we lost, was it six or seven straight games in a row? I didn't mean to do that, by the way, but we lost about 6 or 7 straight games, and it just felt just completely hopeless then. And really, it is frustrating when you look at these last couple weeks with Ha-Seong Kim getting here, and now this team's on an 8-game win streak, and they're playing super well, and the offense is clicking, and we're pitching well too at the moment. Spencer Strider had a good start today, but it doesn't matter anymore. So this is definitely the most frustrating Braves season that I've ever seen.
As a Cardinals fan, it's really not that much better. It's really not that much better. I said it on Out of Pocket. We haven't made the playoffs since 2022. There was really no high expectations coming out of heading into this season. I mean, I expected us to be a 70 win team, a 70 and 92 record team. We did better than I thought we were going to do. But I feel so. I want to ask y'all. I guess this. Is it a rebuild moment or is it just, fix a little couple pieces here and there? What is your kind of stance on that heading into the next season? Whoever wants to go.
I'll take it. I got no belief that this is a rebuild situation for the Braves. We've seen the talent is there in places. It's just not a complete. The pitching staff needs a rebuild, but that's the only part of the team I believe that really needs a rebuild. We're seeing how the offense is playing right now, and when you can get Strider going, when you don't have Bryce Elder on the mound, but the pitching is a major issue holding them back at the moment.
I'll go ahead and say this that I think that we're seeing some improvements, or at least some hope that I have for the starting rotation for the future. I think Hurston Waldrep is if he can continue what he's done for this season for us, I think he can be a great asset for our rotation next year. Chris Sale, I mean, we thought that he was going to have a slump in his second year for the Braves, but he has just continued to be, one of the at getting the strikeouts, getting the crucial outs. He gets himself into jams, into situations, but Chris Sale's just always a wizard at getting out of those, tough situations. And Spencer Strider, it's been rough coming off of that injury. He's just really not figured it out. The fast, he's not been able to rely on that slider. It's just not been really working for him. So he's tried to rely mostly on the fastball, which he's lost some steam off of, only topping out at 96. But the more starts he's getting under his belt, the more that I'm seeing, Spencer Strider figuring it out. And I think now that he can have hopefully a full healthy offseason, working out, getting some workouts in, that he can get back to where we know that he can be there and figure out is, first off, I don't care what it takes for us to re-sign Acuna. Re-sign the man. Re-sign the man. I like it. You got to get him into a room. We need to re-sign Acuna for a multi-year contract. It's just got to happen. I feel the same way about Ozzy, not to an extent where, like, if we lose Ozzy, I'm not gonna, be as disappointed. I love Ozzy Albies, but at the end of the day, Acuna is my number one priority in order to re-sign for a multi-year deal, and that's the number one priority for me. But the other priority is to rebuild that bullpen, man. Pierce Johnson has got to go. Pierce Johnson has got to go. I listen. He's done some good stuff for us. I get it. Daysbel Hernandez is also another one that I just don't see him being a long term solution. We got to get some good guys in that bullpen in order for us to compete next year. So I think it's just adding a few pieces in this offseason, and I think we can just go back and still compete, because I mean you still got some great people in this offense. I mean, Matt Olson is still there and great for us. Austin Riley's going to have a full healthy season back for third base. Nacho Alvarez is somebody that I'm like, I don't know. Do you want to send him down? Because I'm seeing some bright spots from him as well. Jurickson Profar, we didn't know what we were going to get from him. He's had a really good second half. Ozzy Albies has had a really good second half as well. Michael Harris, my God, I mean, the start of this second half was a resurgence for him, and he's really figured it out with the bat. And the last thing I will say is fires and fires, and that's it.
Yeah, I think to go back to Jackson's question about a rebuild, I don't think that it's really possible for us. Like, I don't think that's an option because you have a situation in which you have so many young guys under contract for such a long time that it's kind of hard to like act like we're just going to ship everybody off. You could let Ozzie go, but that's really about the extent of what you could do as a rebuild, I guess. And I guess you could try and trade Chris Sale as well, but I don't see us doing that. I think I do agree with Steven in the fact that to me, the only part of this team that needs a rebuild is the bullpen. I
Mm.
feel pretty good about the rotation moving forward to next year. Hurston Waldrop has had a great second half, which I'm very much looking forward to watching him actually playing some meaningful baseball games next year when he has to pitch. But yeah, it's just the bullpen's been terrible, and that was our concern this year coming into the year. That was really our main thing was what's this bullpen going to be? And I remember we were all watching opening day in the studio, and here comes De Los Santos in the game where we're up against the Padres and blows it. And it was kind of a foreshadowing what was going to happen the rest of the year for the most part of this bullpen. So I think Daysbel Hernandez is interesting to me because I think you can like sometimes you can see it, like the talent's there. He just can't locate anything. So if he could figure out how to locate, I think he could be a very good piece. But yeah, I don't think that this is a team that you can really look to rebuild because you have so much talent and it's locked up for so long. But you definitely need to rebuild the bullpen if we're going to have any chance of competing with the Phillies next season for the division.
Yeah, we talk a lot about transitional periods. We talk about rebuilds or just restructuring pieces of your roster. And well, the Cardinals are in a whole rebuild thing. So I just wanted to ask from a Braves fan perspective, for the three of you, you genuinely thought the same thing after a down season because it's been like 8 years since y'all missed the playoffs. So I do want to ask this, get into the overall aspect of the MLB. We're heading into MLB playoffs. And you see teams have already secured spots like the Cubs, the Brewers, the Blue Jays have secured a spot in that AL East. I want to ask you, who are some teams that you're looking forward to and seeing can make a deep run in the MLB playoffs, and who are some players that you may see as under the radar guys heading into these MLB playoffs? Whoever wants to start on that.
I mean, look, I mean, as far as the teams that I'm looking forward to see in the playoffs, I'm gonna go ahead and say this that I'm always gonna root for the Mariners, just because I love the team and I love. Listen, man, man, I watched them live. I went to a game where we were playing the Seattle Mariners, the Braves were, and we ended up losing that game 11. Julio Rodriguez is just a fun watch. I love watching Julio, but the the season that Cal Riley has been just unbelievable. It's been historic, and I would love to see them, make a decent run in the playoffs. I want to see this season, the offense that they've had. Um, and they're kind of the underdogs. I mean, don't get like look go into this AL, the American League. I mean, they got some guys that they're going to have to sit there and compete with in order to get to like the next round. I mean, you got the Yankees, you've got the God, the Guardians. Oh my God, what the Guardians have been playing of late. I mean, what are they? 11 games, 11 game win streak right now.
They
Uh,
lost today.
I thought they were. I didn't see the end of that ball game. I thought they did. They took the lead.
I'm sorry to burst your
Um,
bubble,
but
Stephen
look,
Vogt.
before that, they were still winning 10 games in a row. It was 10. Like they've been on such a run. But like I said, man, I'm always going to be a Mariners guy. I'm always going to be a guy that just hopes and they make a decent run because I'd much rather have the Mariners make a World Series playoff run than let's say a Yankees or Astros or
Oh,
just a team
100%.
that we've seen them make it billions of times. If we could see the Mariners and that fun team, get to the World Series, I think that'd be a fun watch.
Yeah,
Aiden, Michael, players or teams?
I went with the exact same team in the Seattle Mariners. I just want to build off what Steven said. I've seen a Mariners game in Seattle. This was when they had Kyle Lewis starting in center field, Kyle Seager at third base. Nobody on the team was hitting above 250. And this team's built up. Steven really touched on their offense. I want to touch on the pitching staff because this staff is built for the playoffs. Brian Wu, his emergence
Mhm.
this year, backed up with Luis Castillo, with Logan Gilbert. It's a deep pitching rotation for the Mariners this year. I think they're built for the playoffs, and I really am excited to watch them with that offense, with the pitching. I think they can go really deep this year.
Michael?
For me, I just love watching the Tigers, man. They've been the team that I have tuned into. Like whenever they're on Sunday Night Baseball or something like that, I will stop what I'm doing and turn to ESPN and watch the Tigers play baseball. Because this year to me, they were fun to me last season because of how good their pitching staff was, and it's still really good this year. Obviously, and Skubal coming back is obviously going to be just a nightmare for opposing offenses. And I talked about this the other day on Out of Pocket a little bit. Terry Skubal is almost good enough to me where it's almost like if he's 100% healthy, you're kind of to a degree, you can almost kind of pencil in a game one win for the Tigers, in my opinion, because of how good he is. So, but this year they have hitting. They weren't a great offense last season. I think that kind of held them back. But this year, guys are popping off. Riley Green's obviously always been really good, but Spencer Torkelson having a good offensive season, and some of these other guys stepping up really big for the Tigers. I think they can make a lot of noise in the postseason.
Let me just add this one quick thing. I'm also hate watching because the Reds are tied with the Mets in the final position in the wild card. And if the Reds can somehow pull off getting that last spot in the wild card and knock the Mets out of the playoffs, this season's been a disaster. But if the Mets don't make the playoffs after they sign Juan Soto to a $730 million contract, I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh throughout the entire offseason. I think that's worth it. I think it's worth, listen, it sucks. Terrible as a Braves fan, but if the Mets don't make it either, oh, it's great. Oh, I'm in a good mood.
I want to throw it to an AL East team of a team that I'm really excited to look forward to. And I know I said on last season of Out of Pocket, my preseason World Series prediction was going to be the Boston Red Sox and the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm still going to stick with that just because both teams have made the playoffs, and I want to stick with my preseason teams. But there's one team I'm really excited about, and that's the Toronto Blue Jays. I know we talked multiple times on this podcast about a guy who would be shipped off after this season or shipped at the deadline for the past 2 years, Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette has had a phenomenal season. I mean, he's hitting a 311 batting average, 18 homers, 94 RBIs as of right now. The only thing that concerns me about that Toronto Blue Jays team is the pitching staff. The pitching staff's a little weary. I mean, obviously, Blue Jays have a lot of run support in Vlad Jr. Springer's having a phenomenal season. Bo Bichette, just to name a few, Ernie Clement, just to name a few guys. But that Blue Jays team, I mean, we asked a lot of people, what's the biggest component when it comes down to like key takeaways or key breakdowns for baseball teams heading into the playoffs? Pitching. So if the Blue Jays can turn that pitching staff around, they have a phenomenal bullpen. It's just how long can a starting pitcher carry you through? Get 5, 6 innings? I mean, you need those key moments. I mean, but and with the Mets, Steven, I don't think the biggest issue was the whole offense thing. I mean, obviously Juan Soto didn't do, as good as I thought he was going to do. He still had a really solid season, hitting for a lot of power, not a versatile guy who hits for average, like he has been in the past. That pitching is atrocious. That pitching is absolutely dreadful. So the Mets, I mean, if you could change that around, I mean, look into the future. If the Mets can somehow, I would choose the Mets over the Reds.
Look,
For right, I mean, Hunter Green has looked phenomenal. I mean,
but
the
that's
only I'm not saying that as an NL Central bias, but that's kind of
I
my
mean,
feeling.
that's their own doing, man. Like when you go all out and you spend these big contracts for these big offensive guys to come into your ball club, and you don't put any effort into the starting rotation. I mean, you're going to get what you ask for.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, like it's basically it was like to start off the season. I looked at this rotation. It was Senga and everybody else. That
Mhm.
was the Mets rotation, and it's
Clay
not served
Holmes.
them well.
I was gonna say Clay Holmes. I mean, he's been all right. Jonah Tong, the next coming of Tim
Yeah,
Lincecum. He's
tell Mets fans that Clay Holmes has been all right. Let's see how that gets you.
he's been serviceable. I don't know. But players, I want to point out specific players. Ayden, Michael, I want y'all to talk about this. Specific players, not just teams that you're excited to see either debut for the playoffs who have never been to the playoffs before, or you are excited to see make a push and really show out in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah,
Michael or Ayden.
for me, like it's honestly, I'm excited to watch Alex Bregman in Boston play in the postseason because we've seen him play in Houston, obviously a whole lot in the postseason already. But in a new city, in a new environment, like I think he's the most important piece for this Red Sox team because of his veteran leadership and because of his experience in the postseason. He's played in several World Series. He's been in these big moments and playing in a new ballpark at Fenway. I'm excited to see how he reacts to it. I'm excited to watch him in a new uniform in the postseason this year.
Ayden.
For me, I'm excited to see some of these young Tiger stars, Torkelson and Skubal. see how they or Torkelson specifically, how he performs in the playoffs in the big moments. We've seen a lot of these young hitters. They get to October or September to October, and they can't hit as well as they can throughout the season. Excited to see what Torkelson can do this year.
I'm really excited about Torkelson. I'm glad that he had a resurgence after the past couple years. Or his first couple years in the MLB. I mean, he was a number one pick in like what 2020, and he really wasn't showing it for a while. But now,
Yeah.
I think he was robbed from an all-star team this year, in my opinion. He had a phenomenal first half. Has had a really solid second half as well. So I'm really excited to see how he does in the playoffs. I want to point out a guy just specifically for the playoffs that I'm super excited to see. And I hate to say this as a Cardinals fan, I'm a big fan of this guy, and this is the only guy I'm really a big fan of to see. PCA, Pete Carl Armstrong, phenomenal player, phenomenal athlete, and I know he came over in that Javier Baez trade a couple years back, and the Cubs fans are looking really highly on that. PCA, I want to give him his flowers. He's been in contention for an NL MVP. I don't think he's going to win it. I think it goes to obviously Schwarber. I mean Schwarber's probably going to win it this year. I wouldn't see really any other contender besides maybe a little bit of Shohei, but that's it there. But PCA, I'm excited to see what this and I hate it. I hate it because I hate the Cubs, man. I'm excited to see what he does in the playoffs. I just want to throw that out there. I really want to throw that out there. But I don't know. I want to ask Ayden and Michael. I mean, before the playoffs start, who is your World Series contenders? Because I know Steven's World Series contenders.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I would say everybody.
Thank you, Michael.
Like I don't think there's not like to me there's not like an elite team this year. Like I said that earlier. Nobody's gonna win 100 games this year. So I don't really feel like there's that like go ahead favorite to win the whole thing. And usually that favorite doesn't win it anyway. So really, I think it's really anybody that can
For
do it.
last year,
That is true. That is true last year. That is
Yeah.
very true. Um, but most of the time that doesn't happen. I would say if I had to give you like my top teams that would win it, obviously Philadelphia is one of the better teams. I hate to say that, but they're obviously one of the best teams in the league, probably the best team right now, maybe. It's debatable. Um, the Dodgers, you never rule out. Um, but I really like Detroit, man. I'm very high on the Tigers because with their pitching staff and this offense. So I would say either Philly or Detroit right now.
I was gonna say, what's your World Series prediction? Who comes out the AL? Who comes out the NL? And who wins?
I'll
Are
get.
you
I'll have Detroit in the AL, and then I'll have LA getting back. I think they'll sneak back in there.
the Dodgers, Detroit? I wouldn't mind that. Ayden?
Yeah, I agree completely with the Dodgers. I think this Dodgers team is built. I mean, they've shown it time and time again. They're perfectly built to perform in the playoffs. It's a lot of alliteration right there. And out of the AL, I'm going to go with the Guardians. We've seen this. This is another thing we've seen time and time again. They're hot at the right time. It's the team who's hot at the end of the season. A lot of the time can make that run, get to the World Series, and we'll see what they can do against the Dodgers. That'd be a fun series to watch.
yeah, hopefully they get in. They're still a half game behind the Astros, so
Yeah,
hopefully they'll get that last wild card spot. Y'all mentioned players that you're excited to see. I'm excited to see Jaron Duran with the Red Sox with this wild card
Yeah.
team. Just his story and like with it, I've always just admired like his it's a motivating story and like his perseverance through everything that happened and like his mental struggles and still being one of the top guys on that offense for the Red Sox. It's watching him in the playoffs is great. And this Red Sox team is also just a fun team to watch too. They've obviously they're in that division where the Yankees has just been the top dogs for this entire time. Obviously you got Toronto, who's been is the pretty much the they're probably going to end up having the best record in the American League by the end of the year. But as far as who I think is going to come out, listen, if I'm going to be honest with you, I can tell you who I think is going to come out. I think it's going to be the Phillies coming out of the National League, getting into the World Series. And then I think as far as the American League goes, I think right now I'm looking at the Yankees. the Yankees making it into the World Series. I think it's going to be a Phillies and Yankees World Series. That's what I like as somebody who just takes the fan watch out of it. I think that's going to be the World Series. What I want to happen, I would love to see Mariners and Cubs World Series. That would be a fun watch. I would love to see the Cubs make a run through the playoffs and face the Mariners in the World Series. That would be a fun watch. I would love that World Series. And the Mariners would win, by the way. I think if that happens, I think the Mariners win the World Series.
I want to stick. I really, really do want to stick with the Red Sox and Dodgers. I really do want to stick with my preseason pick, and I'm gonna take the Dodgers to win it all still. I mean, obviously it's gonna light a fire under Clayton Kershaw's ass when he's in his final year. Obviously he's retiring. He wants to end on a win. He wants to end on a World Series title. I mean, by the way, let's give it up for Clayton Kershaw on a phenomenal career. By the way, the best pitcher of our generation, arguably. Obviously, you have Verlander, Scherzer, Kershaw, and Kershaw, by the way, phenomenal record right now. I believe it's 11-2, and he has like a 3.50 something ERA, something like that, or he's 10-2, something like that. But at the age of 37, doing that, phenomenal pitcher. And I can't remember, dude. I was 4 years old when Clayton Kershaw made his debut. I was born in 2004. Michael, you were 2. Ayden, you were 4. Stephen, you were like 20. But when Clayton Kershaw made his debut. But anyways, yeah, Clayton Kershaw, phenomenal pitcher. I'm gonna stick with Dodgers and Red Sox, um, personally. But I do want to ask y'all before we have 10 minutes left in the Zoom call. I do want to ask y'all before we wrap up the overall episode. Who are your MVP picks post obviously regular season? Whoever wants to start on that.
So in the American League, it's a two player race.
Jordan Alvarez.
And I look at I look at like you could either go this way, right? Aaron Judge, obviously, like it's been a phenomenal season for him, and most, probably they might go ahead and just go with Aaron Judge like for the American League MVP. But dude, what Cal Riley has done this year, it cannot be overlooked when you're talking about the MVP race. I mean, you're talking about a switch hitter that's never hit this many home runs. Did he break the record? Did he break the record for most like home runs by a switch
Record.
hitter?
Yeah.
And broke the home run record for catchers. He's probably going to hit 60. I think, like most likely, you still got what 6 games left on the season. I think Riley's going to get to 60. And don't get me wrong, man, Aaron Judge, phenomenal season, but I've got to go with Cal on the American League side, and on the National League side, come on, man, it's are we who do you like? Listen, I thought it was going to be PCA. I really did. I thought it was going to be P. Crow Armstrong, but the second half just hasn't really, followed up from where it was going to be. So Otani.
Mm-hmm. Aiden, MVP picks. Michael, MVP picks.
Yeah, if we go and start in the AL, like it's tough because I would want Cal Raleigh to win it because of how impressive what he's done is. Being a catcher and putting up stats like that is insane to me. Like, because you're not first of all you're not playing every day if you're a catcher, and then on top of that, catchers usually don't produce at that high anywhere near that high of a level. And for him to go and break the record and have the year he has, like that's just an incredible thing that I don't think enough people like. I don't think enough people understand how crazy what Cal Raleigh is doing is. I would give it to Aaron Judge though. I mean, it's insane. I mean, you're hitting 320. You got 49 home runs. You're over 1100 OPS. That's just insane. So I'd give it to Aaron Judge. And then in the NL, like Steven said, I really thought you could pencil in PCA back in July. I was pretty certain that was going to be a PCA going with the MVP. But because of the second half, I would lean Otani again.
MVP picks.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, my AirPod died there. I think you might have kicked it to me, and I was not available.
It's all good.
But
Ayden,
uh, so I pulled up the betting odds while I was trying to fight and get my AirPod back working there. And currently on the betting odds, we got Aaron Judge at minus 1,000 to win it. So,
and then the National League side.
and Cal Raleigh at plus five. Oh, yeah. And on the National League side, Shohei Ohtani sits at minus 25,000. So I think that one might be wrapped up. You might as well go ahead and put his name on that one. Schwarber, 20.
Yeah, Schwarber ain't winning it.
Yeah, I don't.
Minus 25,000.
Is it did
Yeah.
Ayden is it breaking out for y'all?
Yeah, it is.
I was
is.
wondering
Yeah,
if you guys did the same thing. Yeah.
Because it's just frozen on Ayden's face.
yeah. It's been breaking in and out on Ayden's face there. So
Anyways,
A great shot of Ayden though right now.
oh yeah.
Let's talk about my MVP odds. I think with the national.
I don't think it's that. That's like not that funny,
Oh,
bro.
there's
I was
a.
only is that funny. I was like,
This man's crying over here.
I'm sorry. On the National League side, I think it's going to be Shohei Ohtani. I mean, I would have penciled in Schwarber, like a month or two after, like a month after the All-Star break.
Yeah, get that crap out of here, man. I don't care how many home runs you hit. Your average still sucks.
And that's the reason why we always look at the Hall of Fame conversation. That's the reason why Andrew Jones is not in right now. Andrew Jones doesn't have a high batting average, and that's a conversation for another day. But Shohei Ohtani, you're hitting 283. You have 53 home runs, 90 something RBIs. I feel like you got to be solidified for the National League MVP.
Yeah.
And then you
Also,
got
50-50 club again.
yeah, 50 club again for Shohei Ohtani. But you also, and then you're looking at the AL side. What is? Oh, let me pull up. Cal Raleigh, 57 homers, 119 RBIs, but he has a 246 batting average. He's a 246 batting average. But I mean, that's maybe the only thing that's going to keep him out. And when judges look to vote and cast their votes for this MVP race. But you have Aaron Judge, 326, 49 homers, 105 RBIs, an 1123 OPS. I feel like it's got to be Judge and Ohtani. I do want to ask the final question, Steven. You had Shohei Ohtani and Yordan Alvarez as your MVP.
1 for 2.
You went 1 for 2? Hey, I went 1 for 2. I had Julio Rodriguez as mine. But I mean, I think me and you were the closest. What do you have to say after penciling in Yordan Alvarez preseason?
Big whoop. Had a bad season. It happens to a lot of people. Yordan Alvarez is still a fantastic player. I mean, I don't hate my pick. I've gotten a lot of flack about it, but Yordan Alvarez in the last few seasons is a 40 home run guy, a guy that can hit for a lot of power. And I figured he was going to have a type of season that Cal Riley was having. It just didn't happen. But I mean, it might happen in the future. I don't know, but I just, like I said, man, at the beginning of the season, like I said to Yordan Alvarez, I didn't get any flack for it because everybody knew the type of potential that Yordan Alvarez
Yeah.
had. But now he had an off season. God forbid I made a terrible pick.
Hey, it wasn't a terrible pick preseason. It was not a terrible pick preseason. I chose Julio Rodriguez, and a lot of people were giving me a slack for that.
Ask my fantasy football team about preseason conceptions and falling short of them. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah. I feel the same way. But anyways, that's unfortunately all the time we have for today for this episode of Dinger Dudes. I'd like to thank Ayden, Abee, and Michael Miller from Wolf Sports Network. By the way, go follow Wolf Sports Network. Tune into Sports Out of Pocket, a show that me and Michael are on and Steven was formerly on Wednesdays at 6 on Wolf Sports Network. And then if you want to hear some college football, go to Fridays at noon on Wolf Sports Network on YouTube. We talk some college football on there for the playbook on Wolf Sports Network. Ayden Abee is on that as well. But make sure to go follow Wolf Sports Network. Big takeaway from the MLB season: follow Wolf Sports Network. Yeah, follow Wolf Sports Network. But for Michael, Ayden, Steven, we will see y'all next time.